Get ready with me.
Today is me and my husband's 14th anniversary, and I'm going to tell y'all the story of how we met and how we became a couple and all that, woo-de-woo. So me and my husband, Brandon, we are only like a year and a few months apart. We went to the same middle school, junior high school, and high school together, but I did not know who he was until my 11th grade year. So one day I was on MySpace and I got a message from him. I didn't know who he was, but the message said something like, "Hey, I'm about to be your neighbor." So I replied back something like, "Who is this?" And I remember him replying back, "This Brandon crazy." Now, I didn't want to hurt his little ego, but I still didn't know who he was just because he told me his name. That didn't change anything for me. So because I didn't want to hurt his little feelings, I was like, "Oh, hey," pretending like I knew who he was then. But baby, I don't know you. But in his defense, he probably thought I was at some basketball games or track meets, and that's why I knew him. But I didn't go to our basketball games, and I never went to any of the track meets, so I never saw him. Now, of course, after I got the message, I went on his page, his little MySpace, and I looked through his pictures and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now he's cute." I still don't know who he is, but he's cute. He has really pretty teeth. He's cute. So now I have a face with a name. So I started seeing him when we would change classes and stuff, and we would speak to each other. I would give him a hug, but your girl wasn't trying to be tied down or nothing, you know what I'm saying? Let me stop. But we were just friends. We were just cool. So I would just speak, give him a hug, and we would go on about our day. So at some point we had exchanged numbers, and one day I remember him texting me asking if we had any snacks at my house. And I was like, "Yeah, let me see what we have in here." And I took him a few snacks, which was, again, remember, super close because he's only like 20 feet away. So I walked right over there, took him the snacks. It was just like a, "Hey, how you doing?" type of thing, real quick. I do remember he made me laugh. I don't remember what he said, but he did make me laugh. And I went right back over, to my house. Another time after that, he texted me asking if I had some snacks. I was like, "Yeah," took him a few snacks over there, and he made me laugh again, and that was it. Now, fast forward a few years later, Brandon is now running track at Auburn University, and one day my mama went to Piggly Wiggly, and she saw him. Now, my mama doesn't know him, but she knows the guy that Brandon is with. The guy that he's with is her friend's son. So she sees her friend's son, and she's like, "Hey," all that. And then she starts talking to Brandon. She asked him if he knew her daughters. He said yes. She comes back home from Piggly Wiggly. She's like, "Princess, I saw this cute boy at the grocery store. He said he knows y'all. He said he know you and Bree." And I was like, "What his name?" She said he had a pretty smile. She said his name was Brandon. And when I heard Brandon and pretty smile, I'm like, "Oh, I know exactly who she's talking about." Now, I didn't know for sure if his number was the same because it had been a while since we had any communication at all between each other. But I texted the number that I still had, and I was like, "Did you see my mama today?" And, he replied, and he told me yes, and we just started texting back and forth. And at some point, he asked me what my favorite snack was or something. I told him how much I loved Oreo ice cream. And he was like, "Oh, I'm going to bring you some by." And I'm like, "Okay." So he came by, he brought me this Oreo ice cream, and we laughed and talked and talked and laughed. And he just felt like home. Like that was our first time just really talking, Eventually, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. About 2 years later, he proposed and asked me to be his wife, and I said absolutely yes. And yeah, 14 years later, here we are. And Brandon has told me a few times before that he knew I was the one the moment he brought me that Oreo ice cream. And me and Brandon got married when we were young. I was 21, he was 22, and both of us were raised by single moms who did a phenomenal job. We both held marriage in such a high regard, and we knew that we wanted our future children to grow up in a home where they saw mom and dad, and not just mom and dad, but where they saw it in a beautiful, healthy, happy way, And thank God that out of all of the growth we've had over the years, that we've always grown together and not apart. Honey, 21 and 22, our favorite color and favorite food ain't even the same since then. It's a lot of changes. Like, you're not the same person. So thank God for that. Won't he do it? And will. So we went to Blue Prime Steakhouse for our anniversary. I'll post a review on that later. Spoiler alert, it was delicious.